watching Weasel News.
Right, let's get going. Good evening from the Vinewood Bowl in Los Santos, San Andreas. I'll be your host for this evening, Bill Smith, and we're glad to welcome you all to the fall election debates. For this event, we've got 8 candidates running for 8 roles. Up on stage this evening, we have Brother Jeremy running for governor with his running mate Wyatt McKenzie for lieutenant governor. We also have Vincent Creed, who sent in a statement, which I'll read out for you all shortly. We want to thank Securiserve, the local law enforcement, for providing security. We'd also like to thank Dirty Dogs, who are currently dancing on top of their food truck, for providing food and refreshments for this evening's. All the candidates have agreed to follow the outlined rules of the debate. For those in our live audience, here are the rules. Questions will be directed to each candidate. Each candidate will have roughly 90 seconds to respond. There's a maximum of 90 seconds for each candidate to answer. And following the question, there'll be 3 minutes of debate among the candidates, with 2 extra minutes leeway if I'm feeling nice. All direct questions must be asked within 30 seconds or less. Moderator discretion about the number of direct questions asked. Therefore, don't get too carried away. Raise your hands if you wish to ask a direct question, as in the speakers behind me. And the buzzer for this evening is absolute. Obey or be shamed. For those of you at home and in the audience, the buzzer is, just in case you missed it. Thank you very much. Right. We ask the guests for tonight's debate to remain quiet. Please refrain from clapping and booing, despite how exciting this evening may get. Disruptive candidates and guests will be removed from the event and shunned. Questions for this debate have not been shared with any candidate beforehand and have been formulated by Weasel News, Shout News, and ourselves over at Useless News. In addition to these questions, there'll also be a public Q&A for those lucky people in the audience this evening. Without further ado, we will begin the debate by allowing each candidate, in this case, Jeremy and Marcus Creed and Vincent Creed, who've sent in a statement. They'll each have sort of 15 seconds to introduce themselves, and we'll begin with Brother Jeremy, please.
Hello, can you hear me, Bill?
We sure can.
Hello there. I am Brother Jeremy Barbant. I am the owner of Styx Funeral Services, a member of the Franciscans, and I am running for governor of this beautiful state of ours. And I'm excited to show you all what I can do.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Brother Jeremy. To read out the statement sent in from Vincent and Marcus Creed, they write, "Hello to the people of this beautiful state. Although you may not know a lot about us, you may not know what we stand for and our ideas. We have a lot to offer both to you, the people of the state, and the state itself. We come into this election knowing that we would be the underdogs in this story, and this was something we were prepared for. Vincent holds strong leadership qualities and commitment to establishing a positive environment. Marcus holds quick and efficient thinking qualities with the capability to adapt to any means necessary. We both have this passion for creating a culture where each voice can be heard. From the humble homeless man to our almighty president, passion is what this state needs. Our platform for this election has been transparency, planning to have that open communication within the state by a mandated spokesperson within government agencies to promote this communication. Accessibility, having our doors open for the public, businesses, visits, and public forums on a regular basis to keep on top of the people's needs. Recognition, we know people who go above and beyond in the state, and therefore that should be recognized more. We want to celebrate these achievements. And finally, reform, prioritizing extensive rehabilitation initiatives that assist people in making life-changing decisions, attempting to smooth reintegration into society, and collaborate closely within community organisations and correctional facilities to assist with reform. We truly believe our Secretary of State nominee, Jack Burton, and our Chief of Staff nominee, Jonah Sanchez, we can achieve this. Well, without further ado, we will move to questions for the candidates from the pre-list of questions we've got. So, Brother Jeremy,
Yes.
what do you plan to do on your 2-week plan, and how does your plan differentiate from your opponents?
Sure. So let's begin with describing what the 2-week plan is and what it is about. The 2-week plan is, I want you to think of it as the first 100 days of a presidency. It is the initial start to show the activity, the promises that we are making, and the ideas that we have in order to push for a change, review, and overall executive activity that can have meaningful substance. That being the first two, and then within the 2-week plan, that would be appointing our nominee for Secretary of State, that being Winifred, who is PDO Command, as the Secretary of State. And also our Chief of Staff nominee will be Dr. Jax Hendricks, someone who is also really smart, is an expert in reform, and I know can put all the ducks in a line, which I'm happy to have both of them by my side, along with Wyatt here. Continuing is the most important thing to know what the governor can do. What can I do? I cannot form laws out of thin air. That is not something that the executive branch can do. What I can do is review committees and create them. So, as part of the 2-week plan, we are going to do a full review and renewal of current and existing committees, things like the Criminal Code Committee, the Pardoning Committee, and review committees that are currently in need or out of use and update them. That would be this is the major focal point of something that I can do as governor, something with substance. Finally, there's community outreach things that we want. Things like designating a state animal, a state flag, and a state plant. Along with this, the cooperation with the rangers that we have with are fully on board with this and are happy to help where they can. These are all things that we can do that will give back to the community as a sense of engagement and effort and being part of the community that we are in. Along with that, we have the ability to hold or at least schedule was the goal here. The first town hall meeting and the first cabinet meeting, and try to set a date within those 2 weeks. Not within the 2 weeks, but at least form a date that we will be in cooperation with the existing government, so we can start off on a strong foot. That I, like our opponents, have had less of or have not have is this initiative. This initiative of showing what a governor can actually do. Nothing about committees we have chatted about.
And that is your 90 seconds. If you'd like to very quickly wrap up, Brother Jeremy.
Sure. Our opponents, the Creeds, have not talked about any committees that they want to overhaul or actual things they can do of substance as governor, just vague and promises that aren't of substance and are just general promises that I don't know that they can keep. So that is where I'm currently at, and that is where I believe that we can offer is foolproof, actual substance, things that the executive branch can do. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Brother Jeremy. Now, this next question, feel free to answer yourself, or you may wish to defer to your Lieutenant Governor pick, Wyatt McKenzie. The question being, now correct me if I'm wrong, however, the way it was written is, McKenzie is currently a DOCL employee. What would he do differently to help prevent the build-up of casework for that department?
All you, buddy.
This question came up. To clear the record, I am not an employee of DOCL. I stepped away from the role whenever I stepped into the rep role. I feel that DOCL is in a very good place, which I know a lot of people will not agree with. DOCL is constantly working their butts off, constantly trying to get our 400 or nearly 400 businesses the work and the focus that they deserve. It is obviously very difficult to do that when they have such a small team And I know a lot of people's argument is just hire more people. It's not that easy. I've been in that role before. It's not as easy as just picking somebody up off the street and telling them how to approve businesses. A lot of folks apply to Dockle just for themselves, just to help their own business, and that's just not it. So I guess to answer the question, what would I do to fix Dockle? Nothing. Dockle's in a great place. I think if anything, Dockle should do more of these bricks that they are currently on, to get through that queue. Um, they just need patience. They need your support, and um, if you don't want to run your business, don't make them chase after you. Just close it down because there's no point in transferring it to 9 people. There's no point in hoarding it. Just if you're done with your business, be done with your business. So that might all be kind of a spicy take, but yeah, that's what you got.
Fantastic, thank you. I make that about 8 seconds before the timing. Wyatt Mackenzie, everybody, very good at time efficiency. Fantastic. Right. So to finish to finish up the question section of our governor's questions before we open up the floor to the public this evening, I'm just going to read out the very last section of the Creed's statement, and then we'll move on to questions from members of the public. Creeds claim their capacity for critical thought, efficient problem solving, and well-informed decision making will help them to take advantage of the opportunities and overcome the obstacles that their work presents. They're committed to encouraging fair play, upholding stability by being as transparent as possible, and making sure that every citizen has the opportunity to positively impact both their own and other people's lives within the state. They have spoken to business owners, government departments, and social clubs in the state to get a better understanding of what the people's need and wants are in the state. They've taken all the conversations into account, and if given the opportunity, they will do their best to action these. They're the People's Party for a reason, and this is what they have been trying to show all throughout their campaign. They claim they bring a fresh perspective for the state, already working closely with the people through various jobs. That's helped them as people talk and they listen, which now leads them to here where they believe they can make an impact. As mentioned in the beginning, earlier on, they knew they were coming into this election as the underdogs. Who doesn't love an underdog story? So they hope you can give them the opportunity to give the state a brighter future. And they wish to thank everyone so far for their support, and they hope to see you all soon. Right. Let's get this opened up to the people in the audience. Right. So if members of the audience can raise their hand if they'd like to ask a question of, in this case, Brother Jeremy, we will then give 30 seconds, and obviously, please make sure you're shouting whilst asking these questions. Do we have any takers? Anyone for a burning question for Brother Jeremy, or maybe even Wyatt Mackenzie? Please raise your hands if you have any questions. Here we go. Kieran Graveshaw. Please replace me on the podium and feel free to use your 30 seconds to ask a question.
Yes, firstly, I just want to congratulate you on running. I think it's
Thank you.
very brave what you're doing. My question is quite simple. You look at the governments have passed.
Sure.
What is something that you are going to be focusing on doing that you think maybe governors of the past could have improved on?
So, obviously, let's start with a good thing that they've done, and that's something that we plan on doing. That is Open Governor Days. This fills the first part of our promise, which is communication. Open Governor Days have not been done in a good while. What we are planning to do is go to a local business, sit there for 2.5, 3 hours at a time, and saying, whether it be an event that we post on the events app or actively tweet out, that, hey, we are going to be at this business. If you want the open ear of the government, if you want the executive branch to hear your problems or hear your concerns, come by. This is something that we can do. Another thing will be the full review of the pardoning committee. Actually have people who are excited to work upon committees, have them active and willing to do what is needed. The pardoning committee for a good part of the year now, if not more, it's stagnant. The goal of our governorship is not stagnation, is renewal and pushing it forward. So we're going to do the full review of the committees, like I said, to which previous governors have either overlooked or have not had a chance to get to. And that is one of the things that I know we can do. That'd be my response.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kieran. Thank you very much, Brother Jeremy. Have we got any other questions for Brother Jeremy or Wyatt? Please raise your hand, point in the sky. Have we got any other questions from the audience? Go ahead. Come and replace me, please. Lovely reindeer ears.
Hi.
Hello.
So Jeremy,
Yes.
how does God feel about you winning?
How does God feel about me winning?
Yes. Have you asked him?
Okay. Have I asked if I? Okay. You know what? Nika, this would be a good part to bring this up with.
What?
I'm a man of faith. I am a person that believes in my own faith structure immensely. Like you said, I hope that God feels great right now. But a thing that constantly gets brought up to me is the separation of church and state. And aren't you running? Isn't that a breach of that? For me, it's no. I believe I'm not running under a political party that seeks to instill a state religion or push any sort of religious agenda. I am here to serve the betterment of the people. Individuals on my team are not of my faith. My chief of staff nomination is a Satanist. Another member is an atheist. I am a person that will take anyone in, no matter what walk of life. You can ask anyone from the people that I have talked to at Styx. I have never pushed my faith onto anyone. I have instead helped people foster their own faiths. And no matter what the religion may be, I am here to support their people's spiritual life, no matter what it is. And I hope that kind of gives you a bit of answer to your question, and also a statement that I have constantly been hearing. So I appreciate you, Nico.
Yeah, now you get to talk about it publicly, I guess, in front of cameras and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, that's very cool that you have a very open and wide range of people who are working with you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Wyatt, wait, can I ask Wyatt a question?
Go on. You can have an extra one. Go on.
What's your favorite color?
Ooh, you see, that's not a great question. My favorite color changes pretty often. Right now, we're in the grays. I like colors that pop. I have an S2, and it changes colors very frequently. But usually blues, grays, sometimes reds.
I do love grays.
Yeah.
I love blues.
And
Grey's
Truffle Gray,
Anatomy,
I
good show.
love. I agree.
Have a wonderful day.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, my favorite question's now been stolen. What's everyone's favorite color? But we'll move on. Has anyone else got any questions for for Brother Jeremy or Wyatt? Jessica Valentino, please come and replace me.
Hello, Brother Jeremy. Congratulations on being up here today. My question to you is it true that you're going to be shaving your head, and why?
Yes, I will be shaving my head by sometime later tonight. That is due to a promise that I had made months ago in terms of a wedding present for one of my friends. They had remembered it and I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to continue doing that. And I suppose maybe I'll wear a pink beanie in celebration for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if during the inauguration you see me wearing a pink beanie, that's probably why. So yes, that is true.
Awesome. And Wyatt, when are you coming to work with me again at PDM? I miss you.
You know, one day my schedule will allow, but I want to come back to PDM.
Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jessica. Right. Hands nice and high. If anyone else has any other questions they'd like to ask, please. I can see back left corner. I believe that's a daisy chain garland around her head, from what I can see. Please, please swap with me and ask your question. For the audience at home, I was right. It is a daisy chain garland.
But I'll let him have that.
Oh, damn it.
Hi, I just had a question about what are your guys' plans on dealing with things like the homeless and stuff like that?
Mhm.
Like, how do you
Sure.
plan on making sure that people have housing and
course.
access to those needs, and funding DHS and all that shit?
Sure. So, we have been working closely with DHS. One of the assistants on our campaign trail, and my very best friend in the entire world, is part of the DHS command. I have helped them throughout the past in regards to donations, in terms of whether it be attending their support groups and other activities and needs. I have always been a supporter of DHS, and I will continue to be so. DHS right now, the current idea is working hand in hand with them and actually having productive cabinet meetings to where they get to show the successes that they have been having, such as whether it be the harm reduction kits that they have classes for every now and then, the used cars that they have been doing as an initiative, and as well as the low income housings. I am going to be here if they need any sort of assistance in regards to that. The housing crisis is going to be another issue in and of itself, and one that is going to be hard to solve, mainly because Dynasty Realty, being the main housing provider, is not a government entity. That is a private entity to which the government has no say in. That is their business, and for them, that is something that the executive branch, as of right now, cannot touch. So the goal would be to obviously hope and help promote future housing in the future, but as of right now, that's what we can do. As of supporting DHS, we plan on doing a government hiring event or fair sometime maybe in November, mid-November, to try to promote government departments such as the DOJ, DHS, and other departments that may want extra people hired. So that would be my answer to your question.
All right, thank you so much.
Of course.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Right. I think we've got time for one more question. Who would like to be the lucky person? Please raise your hand nice and high so I can see you. There you are. If you want to swap me. Is that you? Is that D? That's not, it's Damien, isn't it? Zach. There you go. Apologies. Nearly. I'll go through the list.
Hello, both of you. My name's Zach, for anyone that didn't hear it over there. I was wondering, both of you mentioned you have experience with some sort of government or other government bodies. In your first 2 weeks in office, what are some things that you would hope to achieve with revisiting these committees?
Sure. The first thing that we want to tackle is inactivity within the committees. If someone doesn't want to be there, or someone is dragging their feet and not really sure if they want to be in there, go to them and say, hey, do you want to be this part of this committee? If not, let's find a suitable replacement. If you do, let's become more active in it. Individuals are excited to hop in it now. I know Lilith, who is a ranger, is now going to be taking over a seat with Nick, who I am ecstatically excited to work with and to see what she can do. Along with that, the pardoning committee, once again, an active individuals, replace them with active chairs who are excited to be part of it. It is the stagnation that we often feel is a way to combat the plague of inability to not move your feet. So when you have people who are excited, when you tag them in, it's a completely new face of a government. That's a completely new aspect of hope and ideas that are flowing, and I want to nurture that. And it's something, like I said, that we as the executive can do, because some committees are something that we can do. People think that governors can just sign laws by the wave of a hand, and that's not what we can do at all. Instead, what we can do is focus on the things that we have the ability to do and foster them in a way that it not only provides for the general flowing and efficiency of the government, but also it helps benefit the entire state as a whole.
Perfect. Thank you. And did you have anything to expand on that, Mr. McKenzie?
I do not. I think Jeremy answered that perfectly. I'm very excited to get in there and help clean up those committees. We have a lot of them. Enough where I don't know which we really have. So that's the big thing, I think, is to really get that cleaned up and to just clean up the executive to better serve the citizens.
Perfect. Thank you both.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right. So, Brother Jeremy, Wyatt McKenzie, this is your. I'm going to give you. We'd normally give you 2 minutes to bring up what you believe are the top issues of the election, if they haven't already been covered. Although I will also roll in the 30 seconds of closing statement. So, you have a maximum of 2.5 minutes between the two of you. Please feel free to give your closing remarks and top issues for this election.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope that we're all doing well, and I hope to show you all the ability that both Wyatt and I and our executive staff team can do during the selection and during our time as governor. I have been in a role for years now within the state that relies on speaking to people, that relies on communication, that relies on being there for people. I have been the shoulder for many people in the state to lean on. I have been there to help you during your hardest of times. The government, as it's standing, is having a hard time, and now I want to help it. And I want to help lead us into a better day, a better light, that a government can be efficient, the executive branch can be not only respected and revered even more, and to show what a true governor and a true citizen who is excited to work can do. I want to show you all that I can do it, show you that communication, directions, and presence is something that not only my entire team will do, and not wither away after the 2 weeks are over, but instead use those first 2 weeks as a stepping stone to even greater things. This is something that I plan on doing. This is something that I'm excited to do. I'm excited not only to be the governor for some, but a governor for everyone. That is what I would have to say. I'm excited to show you all. I'm excited to see the results in the polls. And I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Brother Jeremy and Wyatt McKenzie. The statement read earlier from the Creed brothers is going to be published by themselves, and I believe they're trying to work with some news outlets. So keep your eyes out, and I'm sure that statement will be circulated again at a later date. One final question for Brother Jeremy, the most important question of the night. Leave that for your own opinion at home. Brother Jeremy, is fish meat?
So I do not believe fish is meat. No, I believe it's a protein. I do not believe it is meat. I follow the observance of Lent, and that you cannot eat meat on Fridays. However, fish is acceptable because fish is not. That is my stance upon that.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Correct.
There you go.
Thank you,
See, brother Jeremy and Wyatt McKenzie do not agree on everything. Thank you very much, guys. Please return to your seats. We'll have a brief 5-minute interval whilst we get the state rep candidates up on the podiums. Where are our lovely state rep candidates? Fantastic. Right. We'll get back into it. Welcome to the second half of this evening, the state representative debate. Those who have just missed it, you've missed the governor debates. However, I'm sure they'll be available at a later date for you to rewatch. With us this evening is 3 of the 6 candidates, so half of the people who want to be your next state rep. We'll be asking them some questions, allowing members of the public to ask some questions, and a K9 unit has just walked on the scene. This is fantastic. Apologies, everyone. We will continue as is. Same as last time. Questions will be directed to each candidate. Each candidate will have roughly 90 seconds to answer. Following the question section, each question there'll be 3 minutes of debate amongst the candidates, with the possibility of an extra 2 minutes leeway should the conversation start flowing nicely. All direct questions, such as, for instance, if Jessica wanted to ask a direct question of Kieran, that would have 30 seconds or less to be asked. Obviously, moderator's discussion being my own to the number of direct questions that are able to be asked. And if any of our candidates here would like to ask a direct question, please raise your hand after the person has finished speaking. The buzzer, as always, is absolute. Obey or be shamed. And then after this section, we will continue to public Q&A. If we first can start with a candidate introductions of roughly around 15 seconds. I've got my timer ready. If we can have an introduction to the public from my left, Jessica Valentino, please.
Okay. So I just first want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for the vendors. Thank you to the news outlets for being here, getting that coverage, and the security here to kind of helping everybody safe here. Now I just wanted to let you all know that, this is not a normal thing for me to be like a politician. I don't have a lot of political background. However, I'm someone that's wanting to get things done, and I want to get.
Hate to cut you off right there, but I will give 30 seconds to the rest of the candidates as we have went over the 15-second mark. If we can go with Zachary in the middle, please. I promise we will have time to go over the rest of what you wanted to say during the debate. Zachary, if you can take us away, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zachary Fitch, running along with my running mate who couldn't be here today, Damian Flippington. We are also both sort of newbies when it comes to the political scene, but we've both been around for a long time, and we're looking to help make a difference.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. That was about 17 seconds by my reckoning. And Kieran Graveshaw, if you can do the same for us, please.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Kieran Graveshaw. I currently work as a private attorney after previously serving in the Department of Justice, and also before moving to this state, worked as a high-ranking police officer.
Fantastic. That was the shortest of the introductions of the evening. I make that to be about 13 seconds for anyone keeping track at home. Right. Let's get cracking with these questions for you, lovely people wishing to be our next state representatives. Question going out to all of you. Will you force warrants to become public information? Don't all jump at once.
No, I would not.
Yeah, personally, I feel comfortable also speaking for Damien on this one. Neither one of us believe that attempting to make the law enforcement do anything will work. We definitely want to expand a little bit on the FOIA. In fact, there's already a legislation currently in pending that we are waiting to see if it gets passed.
So I would have a bit of a different stance on that. I'm not going to say that warrants should all be public. I do feel like some warrants should be, some warrants shouldn't be. I'm willing to work with the PD to try and figure out which ones that would be. I'm not going to be saying all warrants, like I was saying, but I want to work with the PD to find that common ground and figure out which type of warrants should be public.
Fantastic. If you'd like to debate each other, this is your time on this question.
So for me personally, when it comes to the warrants, they should, in my opinion, all be kept under wraps. For me, it's the simple reason, having worked on both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney, I believe that things such as this should be settled in the courts and should not be settled with someone being tipped off about a potential police raid happening. I think that just makes situations more dangerous for everybody necessarily.
And I would agree on that one. In terms of like warrants that could cause danger to the general public or law enforcement, I don't feel like those should be public. However, I feel like there should be some sort of warrants in terms of, I don't know exactly, but I feel like there should still be some sort of transparency in some of the warrants.
I would also say I can understand what you're saying about the less dangerous warrants. However, we don't want to be doing the point of naming and shaming. We need to remember that people are innocent until proven guilty, and by putting a warrant on blast, for lack of a better term coming to mind, you may be actually giving people a false perspective of an individual.
Understood, and I do agree with that. And also, like I was saying, I do want to work with everybody on that and figure out where everybody kind of lies, and we can figure out something together.
Fantastic. I make it about 28 seconds left. You got any more comments?
None
Nope.
for me.
Fantastic. Thank you very
Not
much,
for me.
everyone. Nope. Brilliant. That's absolutely fun. Moving on to our next question. Again, same format as last time. Is there a need to boost public participation in politics?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think that public participation in politics, the more public participation there is, the better the politics is, in my opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the people that we do this job for or want to do this job for. So that if those people are not actively participating and making themselves heard, it definitely makes the job more difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I would agree. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I couldn't agree more. It's definitely we are at a point where engagement in politics is at an all-time low. And at the end of the day, that's just a sign of a broken system. If you can't hear one side of the debate, you'll never be able to fix the issue.
I would also agree on that stance. At the end of the day, we're doing this for the people. And if the people aren't really saying anything, it's going to be making our job a little bit hard. But however, I don't want to force anybody to like be a part of anything like this. You know, there's some people that could give a shit about politics, and there's some people that will be here and, you know, make their voice heard. However, I don't want to force anybody onto that. It's just, it's a lot, you know, better for the public if voices are heard.
Fantastic. Is the debate starting now? If you have nothing to debate with each other, then obviously feel free to say so.
I think we all
Yeah, I think we're in
agree for the
agreement.
most
Agreed on
part.
that.
Yeah, I think we all agree
Yeah.
on that one.
Fantastic. Makes my life even easier. Moving on to another one of our questions. Will you support required activity levels for state representatives?
Absolutely. There's no point in having a state representative who's not around, and there's no point in having a state representative who doesn't do their job.
Yeah, I would definitely say the representative part of the state representative is an important part of the position. At the end of the day, it is ultimately kind of our responsibility to help guide bills, pass bills, or at least put them in front of the people to get them passed. It's very important for us to be able to carry that transparency from the office where we may be behind closed doors with anyone from the chief of police to the head of the judiciary. So yeah. I
would agree. In terms of like requiring time and all that, I think that's always a good thing to do. I know for me personally, I will be around for everybody to come talk to me. Give me a call, give me anything. I'm willing to work with everybody to try and see what we can do about having, you know, a representative around pretty much all the time. I've had a lot of experience with that with PDM and trying to keep employees around as much as possible. And I feel like I'm willing to help work on that.
Fantastic. To me, that seems as if you all agree on that one, same as the last question. To make it a bit spicier for you all, same sort of style of question again. What are ways that state representatives and other government officials can show they're present and engaged with their work?
I mean, by actually going out and talking to people. And that's what I plan on doing. I've said it in statements before. At the end of the day, you can literally go out, go to the businesses, talk to people, introduce yourself, just actually be someone who's around and actively working with the people of this state in order to make things better.
A lot of events kind of have booths that get set up. I think that would be a good idea to reach out and get a booth for the representatives to come sit down, have people come walk around, come talk to us. I think that would be a decent idea. There's a lot of events that are always happening. I mean, you look at the event page and on your phone and everything. There's always events happening, so there's plenty of time for us to kind of just go and talk to people.
I think engagement with the news is going to be a huge part of keeping state representatives and honestly all government officials accountable for both their activity as well as their actions. I do believe that news organizations are supposed to be a mirror for what's going on and a place for not only us to communicate with the people, but for the people to communicate with us through opinion pieces and other things.
Fantastic. Just to bring up the other half of that question, through no favoritism whatsoever, but Zachary has done a fantastic job of answering how, in particular, that government officials can show they are present and engaged with their work. Both Kieran and Jessica mentioned how they would show that for state reps. How would you both specifically show government officials being present and engaged with their work, removing that state rep aspect of it?
Honestly, same thing. I just mentioned the state rep portion of it because that's what we're running for. In terms of like the booths, it can still be the same kind of thing where like everybody could set up like a booth and have people come by and just kind of talk. Just showing your face is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When I worked for the Department of Justice, which is another government employee position, I always made a point to make sure that I was someone who could be reached out to, whether that by any means necessary. And at the end of the day, I just made sure that I was someone who actually was approachable and felt approachable.
Fantastic. Right. I believe that marks a lovely and suitable time for us to move to the public. Again, same as last time, please raise your hands right up into the sky so that I may see your hands and ask your questions. And you can come up here and ask the three candidates the questions you'd like to ask. I see a stray arm from Wyatt Mackenzie. Please
Yes.
replace me and ask your question.
All right. Good evening. So my one question for you all is, and each one of you could answer, what is the first piece of legislation that you're looking to pass?
For me, I want to readdress the stop and go with
Okay.
regards to traffic signals. There seems to have been a lot of back and forthing on it, and I think that a definitive answer is needed, especially for something as day-to-day as driving law.
Okay.
For myself, it would be a toss-up. Me personally, I would be aiming for a sort of revisiting and revival of the Chamber of Commerce, creating a platform for experienced business owners to kind of help teach the new person, and then through that potentially work on grant programs and things like that.
Okay.
For me, I can tell you that so I've been going through a lot of the policies and older policies and bills and everything like that. I know you were talking about policies. However, I do have a bill in mind that I'm going to be working on straight away. I am actually currently working with my assistant, Yuri Devlin, who is a current state rep, on working on some things for if I do get elected here. The first thing I am going to be working on is working with departments to be adding them onto HR 040. and that is something I'm going to be working on right away.
What is 040?
So 040 is, how do I explain it? It's basically, it's a bunch of departments in terms of putting in like complaints and everything like that, and having like a department for that. Yeah, I've been working with Yuri on that to gather more departments on there because it's a little bit out of date, and it helps with like the Whistleblower Protection Act as well. But yeah, just adding more of the government entities onto there to ensure that they have that kind of that process there.
Okay. Can I ask one more, Bill?
Apologies, you may.
Okay. My friend in the middle, Zach, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with the COC bill, I think having a COC is a great idea. I think having something, some body that can interface between DOCL and a business owner is a great idea. I guess my question is, why do you feel that needs to be a bill?
Yeah. Originally, both me and my running mate Damien were running on the premise of things like unions, giving more
Mhm.
people that work in organizations a foundation to kind of pass things that'll suit them personally. And while talking about that with members of DOCL and also to members of Zimports, it was brought up to me that before unions would even be helpful to the community, a lot of new businesses are kind of strangled and crushed by things like fees and not knowing how to properly set up tracking and things like that. So I would want to visit that first, get that fixed, and then revisit the idea of unions in the future.
Okay. Do you feel that the the word just lost my head, the COC, does it need to be a pseudo department, I guess, or do you think it would be better served as like um an executive committee?
I honestly think a committee might fit it better, just
Mhm.
because I know with businesses in this city, it's so fluid that a sort of like ironed down board or sort of like government office might be a little slow to enact change that'll actually meaningfully help businesses.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Wyatt.
Wyatt. Right. I saw a stray hand go up from Rajesh Gupta. Are you still available, Raj?
Someone can go next. I
Fantastic.
need to
Anyone
phrase
else
it
got a
very
question?
carefully.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I see one from the blonde to my right. I do apologize. I'm renowned for being terrible with names.
That's crazy, Bill. Hi, can you guys hear me?
We
can.
Yes.
Yay. So a reoccurring problem that the public, but also besides the public, the executive, and different forms of government, an issue that they've had with every state representative, at least one or two, is communication. Everyone wants to say they will communicate, but then we see kind of flake outs or people leaving or not being around or not being available. How are you going to prevent burnout in your position without disappearing? AKA, how prepared are you for the position that you are applying to?
I personally would never apply to a position that I have any intention of not seeing through. For me, I have multiple ways of dealing with burnout. I believe that having a healthy work-life balance is important. And at the end of the day, whilst I am enjoying free time, it is important as well to remember that I am or would be a member of the government and can still talk to people even whilst I'm just out enjoying my free time. So that would allow me to knock some nails on the head with work and also still enjoy my free time and thus prevent the burnout.
For myself internally, I'm the type of mutant that just enjoys going to meetings. I'm a big fan of actually attending things, having conversations. I'm a huge believer in there is no such thing as a complete idea that hasn't been run by at least two additional people. So I'm a huge fan of that. And outside of the sort of back end behind closed doors part of actually writing the things, um, me and my friend group recently have been looking at getting into more public appearances. We've had the opportunity to sort of gain a piece of the vineyard, and we would really like to make that an avenue where both government officials, new and old, can come and chat, as well as some other businesses that have beautiful spaces.
For me, I've had a lot of experience in the business side of in the business side of Los Santos. I have worked at PDM for 3 years now. I've consistently been there. I've made sure that that place has been running. I'm sure people, when you just kind of go to the business app on your phone, you can most likely see my name there majority of the time. So in terms of like burnout, I don't see myself getting to that point. I will be around for everybody. I go to events. And honestly, my phone is always open to anybody, and I'll look to be clocked in for people to, just reach out to me.
Great. Can I ask a follow-up question? Is that allowed?
You may.
Perfect. Another big thing, and I'm kind of saying this on behalf of a bunch of different departments, but there's been issues with legislative in the past, creating bills without discussing the bill with the head of the department that it affects. That has been a pretty consistent issue that I've heard about and also seen throughout the 3.5 years of my time within the city. Are you planning on making a good communication situation with the heads of the departments to prevent that miscommunication?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I plan on speaking with the heads of departments and keeping in good touch with them on a regular basis. So that should be a non-issue.
Yeah, for myself, speaking with the department heads has always been very core to what me and Damien have wanted to change. We don't believe that it's possible to kind of make a unilateral change to any department. So we wanted to more so make lots of smaller foundational changes to build tools in the future. So we will be speaking directly with a lot of the department heads before we make any changes.
I would agree. I'm going to be looking to speak with the department heads on a regular basis. I'm willing to work with everybody that is like higher up in their command or anything like that. It doesn't need to be the head, but I could talk to anybody just to keep that communication flowing.
Amazing. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Right. People. Any more questions from the public? They are very, very dapper man in the fedora. Please swap with me and ask your question.
Oh my God, stop. You're going to make me blush.
I can appreciate a good fedora.
How we doing today? My name is Gino Capone, resident citizen here in Los Santos. My question, I have two questions, right? The first question, as a private citizen in this land, how are you going to put more money in the pockets of the everyday citizen here? And will you give me money? We'll start from the left.
Oh, start on the left. So that is something, I'm going to be honest, I haven't really looked into at the moment. I'm going to be talking with the general public. If anybody has sort of ideas, I'm going to be listening. So my platform is mainly going to be the extension of your voice. I want to help do whatever the regular everyday people want to have happen. I'm going to be working with all the department heads and everything like that to try and ensure that happens to the best of my ability. At the moment, I don't have anything specifically.
For myself, we as far as like putting more money in your pocket, it's nothing I could give to you specifically, for example. But general changes that we do want to make that may put more money in your pocket by proxy would be smaller business reforms, such as helping build a more connective bridges between Docklands imports to make businesses opening easier, the potential of grants and unions to help fund and start up new businesses, as well as the Chamber of Commerce that I've recommended or that I stated earlier.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as Zach with this one. I think that providing more opportunities will be the forefront of being able to give people more opportunity to actually earn money.
Okay. And your answers to my second question.
After the election's over, we could talk about it. I don't want to
Perfect.
fudge the numbers in any way.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right. Appreciate your time.
I think even when Yusa Snooze can agree that that's probably quite blatantly, bribery. If you did do it, I think that's a bad day when even we agree with it.
It was a test. It was a test right there.
Exactly. See, he's got it. He's got it. He's trying to steal my job. Look at this, look. He's trying to steal my job. Right. Whilst we obviously members of the public, you got any questions? I see Raj got his hand up. We will go to Raj very shortly. If you've got any other questions from the public, please have a quick think. We're just going to have a very, very quick question. Right. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
No.
No.
Well, that
Absolutely.
was a lot quicker
Absolutely.
than
All right,
oh,
I know who
there
I'm
you
voting
go.
for.
2 no's and 1 yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you make
Outvoted.
your decision on one thing this campaign, that should be the that should be the question you make your mind upon. Right. Judge of the Summer, Raj Gupta, please swap with me.
Hello. Sorry, I had to word things carefully, as obviously the judiciary is a non-political branch. So, but I think I've done a somewhat acceptable job. So, my question to you all, and this is to all of you, which is redundant, but anyway, so in the past there have been some delays and elongated waiting periods for nominations in all throughout many departments. Lots of this was partially due to the executive branch, due to the we all know history and what happened in the past term. But also sometimes it wasn't always fully on them. Although again, in recent history, it certainly was. My question is to you all: how will you go about nominations when provided by the executive branch, and will you emphasize them being done in a speedy manner, where whenever possible? And if you could give an estimate of how speedy you're thinking, that would be splendid.
I definitely think that getting nominations done in a speedy manner is important. I'm not going to stand here and say that there won't be circumstances in which delays could occur. At the end of the day, everybody is human. However, in those cases, it would be a form of keeping open communication and making sure that things are done as efficiently as possible. In an ideal world, we could be looking at nominations on a weekly basis. If a nomination comes in, it would be ideal to get it sorted within a week. That would be the goal for me personally.
I definitely agree with a lot of that statement. As far as our plan for how to move forward on it, one of the things that we definitely plan on doing is, upon receiving a nomination, speaking with that nominee personally, where schedules allow, of course. We won't let that slow it down too much. And then also speaking to some of the other members of our board, for instance, like the governor and lieutenant governor, about how they feel about said nomination. And then we would want to push it through, I think. And as far as like a realistic timeline, we hold police generally to a 24 to 48 hours. So I would like to try to maintain that pace if we can hold the police to it.
So you wish to have nominations in within 28 to 48 hours of the nomination?
My apology. Once the nomination's submitted, having our answer on it within 24 to 48 hours.
Very good. That is splendid to hear. And you, Miss?
So for me personally, I do kind of agree with everything that was kind of stated. Like was stated, we are human. There could be still delays. We're going to be trying to work with everybody's schedule and keeping that communication open. I would actually argue possibly trying to get that done sooner. Well, not sooner. Slightly a little bit longer. Difficult to say. Like I said, with schedules, it's kind of difficult. I wouldn't say 48 hours. With scheduling and all that, it might be a little bit difficult. But I'd probably give it roughly. I would give it like 5 days.
Okay. And my second question, thank you all for your answers to that. My second question, and again, this is about as far as I can go without overstepping the bounds. But in many elections, there are promises which everyone makes that cannot be fulfilled. You know, such as, well, I'm not going to give examples. That would be screwing me. But anyway, pretty much populist, some would say, promises that no one can actually fulfill because no one will ever get the votes or the agreement from the requisite parties. So, with that being said, do any of you believe your policies are sort of any of those would sort of fall into those that you're willing to put your hands up and be like, listen, this is never going to happen?
No, absolutely not. As I've said in practically all of my statements that I can remember, my main goal in achieving things is communication. I make very simple promises to simply communicate with people, and we can work on policies from there. There's no point in working on a policy that everyone's going to go against, and in order to make sure that people don't go against it, you need to have that open line of communication. Yeah, that's pretty much the forefront for me. It's more of a how things will be done as opposed to what will be done as of current.
For myself, I definitely, the vast majority of my policies are ones that I realistically think we can achieve. Most of them are foundational, sort of like small tweaks to allow for later building. We do have one or two moonshots that we'd like to see. Nothing that I think we will necessarily achieve, but it'll be something good to at least work towards after we get everything else taken care of.
I would also agree on that. In terms of like policies, I do believe a lot of things that that I'm going to be trying to work on. It might be a stretch. However, I am willing to work on getting to that position. I do have a bit of a reach on trying to get that common ground of the PD and the common people of Los Santos. However, making a promise is a bit a difficult one there. I'm going to ensure that I'm going to work my hardest to get to that position. But unfortunately, some things may fall through, like everyday kind of things. So no guarantees on what may happen, but I'm going to work my hardest to get to that.
I see. Thank you all. That is about as many questions I can ask without getting in trouble. So I appreciate your
Yeah, you
answers.
got that right, Raj.
Thank you,
Thank you
Raj.
all. Yes, Judge of the Summer out.
Exactly. Judge of the Summer, ladies and gentlemen, as voted by you. Well, as voted by you, the readers of Useless News. Right. Have we got any other questions from the public? Please raise your hand nice and high so I can see it. I don't have my glasses on today. It might be a bit difficult. Any hands? See any hands? 50. 75, 100. No? Okay, cool. No auction today. Right. We will now give each candidate 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes roughly to bring up their top issues for the election, and 30 seconds on top of that to as their closing statement. Starting on my left with Jessica Valentino.
Okay. Well, once again, thanks everybody for coming out here. I wanted to reiterate, I don't have a lot of political background on my hand. I'm more of a businesswoman. I have surrounded myself with people that are going to be helping me out. And I'm also a person that believes in walking before you run. So in terms of getting things started, if I were to be elected, it may be slow. But once I get that feel for the pavement underneath my feet, I will be sprinting. So it might take me a little bit, and I'm going to ensure that I get to that position. And I'm sure if you talk to people that have been around me, they know I get shit done. In terms of trying to work with the PD to find that common ground, I'm not going to be changing the PD. Changing the PD is nothing that is going to work. I want to work with the PD. In terms of policies, there's nothing I can really do about that. I just want to make sure that we find that common ground between the two.
Fantastic. Thank you. That was lovely. Only a minute. Right. Zachary, your turn, please.
Hey, once again, everyone. My name is Zachary Fitch. I am running with Damian Flippington. A lot of our ideas break down into 3 key points. The changes that we want to see and try to help implement for businesses come down to things like grants, making it easier for small businesses to come up as far as the initial import fees of some initial items, maybe the premises cost, things like that that'll help you get employees in the door. Helping build more communication between organizations like Zimports and government bodies like DOCL to streamline that process where possible. They have a lot of information. It's just information that's generally hard to reach. We spoke a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce revisiting and revival, and then after that on to the foundations for unions, so workers can come to us with what problems affect them directly so we can look into fixing that. As far as the legal side of things, our interaction with police and other government agencies like police, SAFA, and SAMS, we do want to see a cap placed on marijuana possession fines, not necessarily the time, just because we don't think something that's as dangerous as alcohol should ruin someone's life. And then for government transparency, we do want to work on more touchstones so the community can have a way of hearing what's going on with their government bodies and potentially the future of news crew ride-alongs with those bodies, just so you can see a day in the life.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zachary. Now then, third and final one. Kieran Graveshaw, please take it away.
Thank you, Bill. I just wanted to thank you all once again for coming out. Do really appreciate you all listening to what we have to say. I want to take this opportunity to go on a slightly different tangent. And for those of you that don't know me, I want to talk about why I believe I would be a good pick for this position. Especially when it comes to things such as law enforcement, business, legal, all of those things that other candidates may not have as much of a hold in. As someone who has experience in law enforcement, who has experience being an attorney and is also currently working as an accountant, I have that experience in business as well, which means that I can work with you to help you figure out what you need for your businesses or for the legal side, or work with law enforcement to make things as good as possible. I don't believe that changes are not necessary. Change is always necessary and it's always possible to improve. It's a mantra I've lived by my entire life. But it's finding what changes are necessary and what changes can be made in order to make things better. So by voting for me, you're focusing more on the business and the law enforcement side of things, because those will be the parties that I'm primarily working with, and I will be that approachable person that you can come to talk about concerns that you have that I can then work these departments to try and fix and work on.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kieran. You've heard from the governor candidate and the Creed brothers. You've heard from half of the state rep candidates. Brother Jeremy, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
If you can join us on stage next to Jessica, we're going to go for you've got 30 seconds, and then we'll go from left to right, one single word to sum up your campaign before people go and vote. Whilst you think of that during the 30 seconds, you may end up getting a bit longer if I rabbit on. Voting will open today, October the 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, through until October the 9th at 8 p.m. again Eastern time. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight here live at Vinewood Bowl and on our broadcasting channel through Weasel News. Like to thank Harry Kennedy from Shout News for coming up with those some of those questions that we asked both picks. Would like to give a massive shout out and thanks to Weasel, and in particular Erin Murphy. For those of you watching at home, Erin is the reason why you're able to watch. She's the one crouched in the corner with the camera slung over her shoulder for the past nearly an hour and a half. Don't know how her shoulders managed to cope with that. And a huge thank you to Securiserve and the law enforcement agencies here for keeping us safe. We'd also like to thank Dirty Dogs, who are stood on their roof. Give us a wave, Dirty Dogs. I will count that. For providing food and refreshments this evening, and a special thanks to our event team here, who obviously very, very quickly changed all the tables and such around when we switched from governor to state rep. Right, before we let you all go, before we run away into the sunset and get excited about voting, or I don't know, cheeseburgers, or whatever else people are excited about these days.
Cannolis.
Cannolis. There you go. See, everyone get a cannoli. Short ribbit Salieri's is fucking phenomenal. Apparently, it comes from happy cows, whatever that means. Right. Again, rules are one word. Any more than one word, you'll get ducked. All right, and you'll be shamed. Starting with Brother Jeremy, one word to sum up your campaign.
Prepared.
Jessica Valentino.
Honesty.
Zachary, for yourself and for Damien, since you're a joint ticket.
Foundational.
And finally, Kieran Graveshaw.
Communicative.
Fantastic. This has been the full election debate with your host, Bill Smith from USIS News. Thank you very much, everybody. Head out and vote at 8 p.m. today, 5th of October, Eastern Time. Don't forget, don't miss it. Have your say, pick who represents you and the rest of us. Thank you very much. Take care.
Oh, you guys did amazing. Oh, you're okay.
From everything
You
I've
did great.
seen,